Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Strike Zone with St. Paul Saints Manager George Tsamis. Strike Zone is a weekly program that gives you, the fans, the opportunity to ask the St. Paul Saints skipper questions about the Saints, baseball or sports in general, or just seek the manager's wisdom about life events that are going on. In this week's episode, George talks with us about the two recent signings that he has to the club. He talks with us a little bit about what's going on in the American Association and baseball in general, and we learn about his personal beliefs about what will happen on the latest Blacklist episode. So let's get right to Strike Zone. So let's welcome back the very busy manager, George Tsamis. George, a couple of big signings here today for you, so let's get a little team updates from you.
Yeah, it's been a busy day here, and we have a couple guys to announce that we signed, and obviously one is Caleb Thielbar, who most Saints fans should know about. He was a great story for us, and we signed him back in 2011, and he did a great job for us. And towards the end of the season, the Twins came calling and signed him and took him to A-ball, and then over the next couple of years, he climbed up the minor league system, did real well, and got his chance to pitch in the big leagues for a while, and had a couple good years in the big leagues, and we're surprised that he didn't go to spring training with anybody, and he says he's healthy and feels good, and so I don't know if we'll ever see Caleb Thielbar, because it wouldn't surprise me if somebody signed him before we started, but it's great to have him back, and we expect him to be, one of the top relievers in the league again, and again, he was a great pitcher for us, but he's even a better kid, a great kid, and does stuff the right way, and it's good to have him back. And also we've signed, just in the last 30 minutes here, we've also signed another left-handed reliever named Cody Wheeler, who we signed him last year, and the day we signed him last year, a few hours later, the Orioles signed him, so we really never saw him, but it's another guy that had a good year. He had 17 saves last year in A-ball and got a little time in AAA last year, and so we think he'll be a good guy to have, and really helps, the back of the bullpen, signing Caleb and Cody.
This is kind of a big addition for you, because last year I think Alex Sogard was the only real consistent left-hander you had, and you dealt him near the end of the year. So now you come up with two, and you're not even sure if both will stay with you. So how does that feel as the situation?
Yeah, you just don't know how it plays out, and you know what? Players are playing to get to the big leagues, and it's my job to try to get the best guys we can to bring them in here, and if they move on to organizations, that's why they're playing, and you always hope the best for them, and you hope it works out for them. But as of right now, we have two solid left-handed relievers down in the bullpen, and we think they'll both help. It's weird how it works. Like you said, last year we had Sogard, and we had Dylan Chavez as well too, and but it's just from last week at this time, we didn't have any lefties, and now we signed two on the same day. So it's just crazy how the game works.
Actually, you lost both of your left-handed starters, too. So the two left-handers finally on the team.
Yeah, exactly. And our pitchers that are down in Mexico, Crenshaw, Pedro Hernandez, and Kramer Sneed, they all seem to be doing well down there. I haven't heard anything, and I know their season starts next week. So, I hope they all make it and have a good season, and like I said, you never know, maybe we would see him in August.
Well, let us head on to our fan questions this week. Our first one comes from a person who didn't identify themselves, but it says, when it says that on the transaction that Anthony Phillips was assigned to the Salt Lake City Bees on March 22nd, does that mean he made the Angels AAA team?
No, that doesn't mean he made a team. That's just the roster he's on right now, and that would be great if he can go there and make that AAA team, or make the AA team, whichever one. It'd be great for him. He is such a good shortstop. He makes the plays and can play second, can play third. So it's valuable to have a guy like that. But as of right now, he has not made a team yet. But there's a week left in spring training, and he's still there. So that's a good sign for him.
I got to see him play out on MLB Network a couple days ago, so that was kind of fun.
Maybe. Oh, you did see it? Yeah, see, I didn't see it. I know he got into that one game. Yeah, I did not see it. So good for him, though, and I hope it continues for him.
Otis from Cottage Grove would like to ask of you, I see another Saints player is in affiliate ball as Alex Sogard signed with Baltimore. We mentioned him earlier. You have to feel really good about the team you put together last season.
Yeah, last year the guys did a real good job, and I'm happy for Alex, and I hope he gets the opportunity, and hope he does well for them. And it was tough when we traded him at the end of the year. It was just one of those things that he did a good job for us all year long, but then when Kwasnicka had to retire the morning of the trade deadline, and it put us in a tough spot with only 2 outfielders, and we called around with everybody, and Wichita had Espinosa available because they had one too many vets, but he wanted a left-handed reliever back, and so we made the move to bring Espinosa in, and we had to give up Alex, but I'm very happy for him that it worked out, and I hope he goes. And I don't know if he's going to be AA, AAA, but he can get those lefties out. He has a real good curveball, and good for him.
I wanted to ask you, because he was signed kind of late in spring training, is that usually a good sign of him sticking because they need a left-handed reliever?
I'm not really sure what the situation was. If hopefully that is the case, but each team situation is different. I don't know if somebody got hurt there or somebody went down. I'm really not sure, but you just got to go there and impress and throw strikes and get those lefties out, and hopefully he does and gets a chance.
Looking at Bill from St. Paul, he says, you guys have a 14 games and 14 days stretch early on in the season. This has to be brutal. Do you see this as important in making or breaking the season, even if it is so early?
Making or breaking the season, no, but he is right, though. That is a tough trip, and brutal is a good word. He said brutal, so he's right. It's a brutal trip, and it's a tough trip because there are, 14 days in a row, but the cities that we're traveling to are so far away, and it is going to be a tough trip, but there's no need to complain about it because it won't change the schedule. So you just have to suck it up, and every team has a lousy trip, and we just happen to have it early in the season, and that's okay too, and we'll just get it out of the way. And we had a long trip down to Texas last year, and we played pretty well on it. I think we were 9-1 on it, and so hopefully we can have a nice trip down there this year.
I guess if you're going to hit Texas, June is much better than August, I would assume.
Absolutely, yes. Get it out of the way, yes, and it'll be good.
Manny from Cambridge asks, is there a guy who played for your team but later had his contract signed by an affiliate club that you find his success story incredibly satisfying to yourself? Just like you took a chance on a guy that no one thought was that good and he wound up being a quality player.
You know what? That's what this league's all about, and that's what playing in St. Paul's all about. The players come in, hope to get the opportunity, do a good job for us, and then something happens where they get the opportunity, and Caleb Philbar's a perfect example of that, and Brandon Kinsler, who pitched for us as well. 2 guys that came in, it was a long shot for them to make it back with an organization. Didn't go to spring training with anybody that year, and both guys came in, did real good for us, and both made it to the big leagues, and there are a few other guys that made it to AAA too. So it is nice when you have a guy that plays for you, gets signed, and you hope they get the chance to play in the big leagues.
Lou from St. Paul asks of you, does the winning team in the American Association All-Star Game get anything?
I don't think so. I'm really not sure, but I just think you win the game, and it's congratulations to you.
That's all that needed. Our next question is, why are the hitting numbers inflated in the California League?
The ball, back when I played in that league, and I'm not really sure how many of the stadiums have changed, and balls fly out of there, parks are smaller, and it's just the way the ball just carries there, and it's always been known as a hitter's league. But again, it's been a long time since I've been there, so I'm not really sure about the stadiums, if they're newer ones, or but I remember when I played there, that's the way it was, and balls just fly out of those parks.
How did you feel your numbers compared there to other stops that you had along the minors?
Well, it was it's weird how it worked, because the year that I played in the California League, that was probably the best year I had in the minors. I did play in a good place to pitch, and it was in Visalia, and it was just a good year. So, but I do remember some of those parks being tough places to pitch in, and you just better keep the ball down in that league.
Our next question comes from Champ from Anoka, who asks, I know you have talked about Bryce Harper and Mike Trout as the two best players in MLB, but if you needed a big hit to win a game, who would you want at the plate?
There are so many clutch hitters in the league and so many good ones. Those two guys would be great. Miguel Cabrera, he's been one of the best hitters of our lifetime. He's been something else, and year after year he does it. So I don't think you can go wrong with Miguel Cabrera.
Tom from Maple Grove asks of you, George, what happened to the stolen base? I remember in the 80s, guys like Vince Coleman, Ricky Henderson, and Tim Raines stole 90 or 100 bases all the time. Why did this die out?
That's a good question. There's not that many guys that even reached that or been close to it. Billy Hamilton, he's been a guy that's had a lot of stolen bases, and he doesn't even get on base that much. And you would think if he can figure out a way to get on base more, and maybe he could be the next guy to steal 100 bases. But that is a good question, and I don't know the answer. It's just there aren't that many guys that really threaten the 70 stolen bases anymore.
Do you see that some aspect of this could be related? Are catchers that much better at the position? Are pitchers holding better? Is there any kind of sense of what might be influencing that at all?
Yeah, maybe the pitchers they're being better with their times to home, and they show the slide step a little more, and that's the way to do it too. Because like I've told you before, good base stealers, they steal them off the pitchers and get good jumps, and if a guy's slow to the plate, they're going to take advantage of it.
Our next question comes from Gene from Waconia, who says, is it just as important to work on the strength of your non-pitching arm as it is for the arm you pitch with?
I think it's good. I think it's good to do the exercises, and you do them with both arms. And those little weights, the 3-pound weights or 5-pound weights, whatever guys use. I think it's good to do them with both, and just keep working. And you want to prevent those injuries, and you do whatever you can to stay strong and to avoid injury. So it is good to do them with both.
Derek from Lesueur asks of you, I know you have talked about how happy you are with the Saints job, but do your coaches see a path to becoming a manager or joining an affiliate club?
That's something that Ole Sheldon and Terry Lightberg have been with me for a while here, and both they really enjoy being in St. Paul, and that's really something that we've really never talked about. I think like me, they're happy being there, and they just love the whole setup, and being in St. Paul, it's about winning and putting the best team you can out there, and they really enjoy it. So, I don't think they are in a hurry to get to an organization. They enjoy being in St. Paul, and they both do a really good job with us.
Absolutely. Coach Ray from Minneapolis asks, Skipper, I am coaching Little League this season, God help me. Any advice on how to keep parents from getting out of control about the games?
You can suggest things, you can try to talk to them, and that is a tough situation. And I know we've all sat at games, and sometimes we need to do a better job keeping our mouths shut, but you just hope it doesn't get out of hand. And I know from the stories you heard, and I've heard, and everybody's heard, that it does get out of control, and you just try to talk to them, and hopefully they can take a step back and let their kids, enjoy playing.
I know one of the things, you were asked a couple of questions in some nature about this last year, and I remember one of the things that you constantly talked about was the need to stress fun out of it.
Absolutely. Yep. They're there to have fun, and you just want them to do well, and but you don't want to burn them out. Obviously you want your kids to do well, and you want to push them to do the best they can, but you don't want to cross the line and make it too much. You want the kids to want to be there and enjoy it, and the kids need to play because they want to play, not because you want them to play. So hopefully you can work with them and get them on the right path, but they have to enjoy it, or if they don't, they'll get burned out and won't want to play anymore.
Taylor from Crystal asks, you seem like a guy who lets your job do your talking for you. How do you feel about mouthy kinds of coaches like Rex Ryan?
Sometimes I'm mouthy, though. Sometimes I should keep my mouth shut, too. But you know what? Rex Ryan, Yeah, at times he said maybe a little bit too much, but guys love playing for him though. He has their back, and he wants to win. And you can see how bad he wants to win too. So, but the best way is maybe just keep your mouth shut and let the players go out there and get the job done, and hopefully, they can bring you a championship. And again, Rex Ryan, I can see that what people say. It's tough to hear him talk sometimes, but this is a guy that really wants to win, and he wants to win bad.
Lionel from Arden Hills asks of you, what kind of impact do you see Chip Kelly having on the 49ers?
I think it's a great thing for them, and it's worth a shot. And obviously, they've had trouble lately, and maybe him coming in with his offense, maybe he would change things around and provide a little spark. So I think it's worth a shot, and I think it's a good thing that they did that.
Lionel would also like to know, he says he's read a lot about how there is a cloud about Chip Kelly, that he is a racist. Can a guy really rise to the point of being a professional coach like that and be a racist? Is that even possible?
Yeah, you've heard the stories about that, and you just don't know because you're not around, and sometimes things are said that aren't true, and I don't know. He was a real good coach in college, and like I said, he had a tough year with the Eagles this past year, and but you know what? Stuff like that, you can't control it, and you just hope that stuff like that doesn't come out. And guys need to go there and play football, and and again, hopefully he can turn that organization around.
Next comes Terry from Bloomington, talking about your favorite shows. She says, George, on the Blacklist, Liz going with Red has to be a trick. Do you think this is a plot to capture him and find out more information about what he has planned?
Well, I'm very proud of Terry for watching the show, and that's the first question. I was waiting for a question on it, and we have one, and it's good that it's very good. She's watching it, and you never know with that show. It's excellent. You never know what's going to happen, and I advise everybody that hasn't seen it just to go get on your Netflix. Click on the first episode of season 1, and you won't stop. So it's a show to keep you busy, and you really enjoy it, and then maybe some other people can ask more questions about it.
We want to thank Manager George Tsamis for joining us on Strike Zone this week. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the St. Paul Saints skipper, please send them to us at askgeorge@minorleaguesportsupport.com. That's askgeorge@minorleaguesportsupport.com. Please have your questions to us by Sunday evening so we can give the skipper a little time to review them before we record the show on Monday. I want to thank you for joining us again. I'm Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, and we'll look for you next time on Strike Zone.